Hi, John Arnold here, and welcome to this third and final video in my video series called Address the Mess, which is all about the yogic principle of saucha. And saucha is a ethical practice of self-care, of taking care of our bodies and our minds and our environment by keeping them clean. Saucha translates as purity or cleanliness, and it applies to the whole of our life. So body, thoughts, actions, environment, it's exercising purity in those things. Now, in the prior videos, I went through kind of a little more extensive introduction to saucha. I also talked about some of the common problems, the ways that people set themselves up to fail and they don't even know it. We looked at 3 different mistakes people make in their daily life and drift into a messy life. You know, I don't think anybody wakes up and goes, hey, I want a messy life today. They just happen to drift there because they don't have, they're failing to do some things proactively not to wind up there. And now in this video, what we're going to do is I promise you that by the end of it, I'm going to arm you with 5 tools that are yoga tools, yoga practices that can help cleanse your life. So strap in, get ready for the ride. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to go over this very quickly, and hang on please till the end, because if you've enjoyed this video series, I have an opportunity for us to continue moving forward in it that I'm excited about, and I want to invite you to take part in. So stick around. I'll tell you about that at the end of the video. With no further ado, let's hop right in here. As I did in the other video, I explained that saucha can be like cleanliness of body, can be just basic hygiene, washing our face, brushing our teeth, taking a shower. It can also be being mindful of what's going into our heads and protecting that, being careful about what we focus our time and attention on. And that's really important because our thoughts lead to our actions, right? So we don't want, if we have cluttered thought, we will have very distracted, scattered action, and it's hard to have a fulfilling life that way. But also if we have negative or painful thoughts, like old patterns, old stories that keep going around in our heads, you know, like I sometimes feel like I've got a committee in my head telling me to do things that like are just not in my best interest. And like, how can you fire that committee, or at least get them on board with the game in a positive way? Because those thoughts are going to lead to actions. And then saucha of environment, keeping our space free of clutter, is really important because clutter has a way of distracting us and getting in the way of us doing what we want to do. And then we wind up getting to the end of the day. And as a friend of mine once said, today my reality didn't match my intentions. And we have a whole lot better chance of making our reality match our intentions if we have clean life. So that said, let's jump right into these 5 tools, and I'm going to just hit on them very quickly. First off, what most people think of as yoga, asana practice, pose practice, is in general really great for purifying our bodies. But if we kind of want to ramp that up and we want to be more intentional about it being a cleansing practice, then there are a couple things we can do. Practicing in a hot or warm environment. I used to love to do hot yoga. I don't do it anymore because I have some heart issues, but it would produce the most amazing sweat where I'd sweat out my toxins and I would feel fantastic afterwards. So hot, or even just being in a warm environment, going out on a nice sunny warm day, which it is not right now, but going out in that kind of environment and getting a bit of a sweat on can really help. But also having a sequence or a practice that is rich in twists, because whenever we twist, what we do is we stimulate our digestive system. And to me, it's almost like wringing a towel out. We tend to kind of knead our body with twists and get toxins squeezed out of the tissues and the organs. And be sure, if you do a lot of twist in your asana practice or hot practice, hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. You should probably do that after yoga anyways, because you're always going to be moving toxins around, but you want to expel those toxins. And the key to that is making sure you hydrate after your practice. And then I would just say in general, any practice that is warming to the core is going to be a rich saucha practice in terms of being cleansing. Let's keep moving along. Pranayama, if you're not familiar with that Sanskrit word, it is one of the 8 limbs of yoga. And basically, most people think of it as breath work. That's a little bit kind of dumbing down the word. It's really more about life energy, but we kind of equate life energy with breath. So I'm going to talk about in terms of breath work. Whenever we do breath work, what we're trying to do is stimulate and regulate the flow of energy in our bodies. 2 breaths that are particularly great for this are a really deep breath, like from the base of the pelvis all the way up through that breath. Is a cleansing breath. It gets a lot of carbon dioxide that's settled deep in the lungs out. It's a great saucha breath. One of my favorites, breath of fire. The Sanskrit for that doesn't translate breath of fire. That's more kind of an idiom that people like to use. The Sanskrit for that means skull, like light skull, like skull lightness. And I think partially because when you do breath of fire, which is there's a heavy pumping action of the diaphragm, you expel extremely strongly, and then you're very calm and relaxed on the inhalation. It stimulates your core in some ways, but it clears out the sinuses. It clears up the bronchioles and opens them up. It's a very cleansing breath. It's also a very energizing breath. Like if you're just kind of dragging, a few minutes of breath of fire can really pump your energy up. Moving right along. This I'm borrowing from the Ayurvedic tradition of yoga. Dinacharya relates to having a morning cleansing ritual. Now, I watched a video, and I've kind of online about saucha by a woman named Laura. Her last name starts with G. I can't think of it right now. I'll put her name in a banner here below me, so you can look her up. She has a more intensive look into this, but she emphasized kind of 2 things when she talked about morning cleansing rituals. First off, that just in terms of the intention, they're putting things in your morning that are cleansing activities. So there is your general hygiene, right? I also use a neti pot. I have a practice where I get ready for my day, and I out loud as I'm walking around, I let go of and I release things that I don't want to weigh me down or distract me throughout the day. So it may be, God, right now, as I go into my day, I am letting go of the argument I had yesterday, and may I not be distracted by that. I release that into your care. Maybe it's letting go of stress, maybe letting go of weariness, and then I walk about and I take up that which I want to embody throughout the day. But that's a cleansing process. Now, the other aspect of that is taking on things and doing them she used the word ritual as opposed to habit. Habit are things that we do without thinking, we're not mindful of, but we really want to be mindful and we really want to be present when we are doing those things. So how can we, with full consciousness, brush our teeth, shower, be present to the moment of that? Satvic diet. A satvic diet is a diet that is rich in foods that are light, maybe raw or whole foods, mild in flavor, not highly processed. Like right before this video for lunch, I had a chopped salad with some rotisserie chicken chopped up over it. Very light, but rich, gave me a lot of energy, nutrient rich, without being heavy. You know, we're talking about not doing like, say, old-fashioned, old-school Southern church lady potluck food. Like, that stuff's awesome. I love it, as you can see. But that's not what we're talking about. That stuff leaves you weighing down. No matter how delicious it is, it ends up leaving you weighed down. And then lastly, meditation or prayer. Meditation and prayer, particularly meditation and prayer that is either one, acknowledging sin or things in our life that we need to let go of. That's a cleansing practice. It's a severing of a mental tie. That type of prayer or meditation work can be really phenomenally good. Or meditation work that's contemplative in nature, like centering prayer, has been particularly rich for me. If you're not familiar with that, you can just Google it. But basically, it boils down to trying to be fully in God's presence and letting go of invasive thoughts. And what that does is it creates space of awareness around thought so that you can be productively responsive to what's going on in your mind rather than just being reactionary to what's going on in your mind. So there you have it. 5 practice powerhouse tools: asana, pranayama, dinacharya, satvic diet, meditation, and prayer. These can go a long way to cleansing our life. Now, I want to talk to you about the opportunity that I've put together to continue this journey, because I hope you found this really rich. I have loved teaching it, and I would like to continue the journey. Okay, so as I am recording this, we're just a couple days away from the beginning of Lent. And for Lent, I've put together a 40-day yogic cleanse of heart, health, and home. So a 40-day yogic cleanse of heart, health, and home. What does that mean? Well, I imagine many of you have what you need just from these videos to move forward. But some of you are thinking, or you probably know yourselves well enough to know that, like, I love this and I'd like to do it, but I really want more step-by-step instruction, because, like, while you can tell me breath of fire, I really don't know what that means, and I wish somebody would show me. And you could go Google that stuff and run around and find it, but, you know, are you going to take time to do that? That's a whole other question. Or maybe you're saying, you know, like, okay, I get what you're saying about twists and that kind of thing, but I don't feel safe and comfortable or confident in creating my own sequences that would pull that off. And I really need, I'd prefer to have like a certified yoga instructor hand me a sequence that I can follow. Well, I'm that guy. I can do that. And that's what I'm going to do. I'll put together tutorials around these things. I'll drip them out over that 6 weeks or so of Lent. And for 40 days, we can support one another in that journey. And when I say support one another, I don't mean just me sticking a bunch of stuff on a website, which I will do, that you can go and you can glean from. But I also, in the course of that 6 weeks, I would like to have 3 live Q&As, one at the beginning to where we can kind of assess where we are, each one of us, and figure out where we'd like to be in 40 days, what mess we would like to address in our lives, and make some really concrete goals for getting there. And then one in the middle to answer questions where maybe you're struggling or stumbling around with something, and or get feedback from other people in the group. And then one at the end or near the end to say, okay, how did it go? Did I make my goal? Am I where I want to be? Where do I go from here? And again, answer any questions that you have, so that you really have some step-by-step hand-holding and accountability and support along the way. I have led lots of mastermind groups and time management, and I have found that that's kind of the secret formula. Is you don't only need to just know what to do, but you need people who have been down the road, who can be an encouragement to you and can see the roadblocks you're butting up against that you don't see. And that's what this 40-day Lenten cleanse, this yogic cleanse of heart, health, and home is going to be all about. And I think that anybody who jumps in this is going to see some very significant improvement in just the quality of their life, and free up some space, make some space for God by uncluttering internally and externally what's going on in their life. And I believe that because that's what's happened for me over the last couple months as I have been working on saucha. I had an extremely difficult year in 2019 with health issues and the death of my mother, and I just moved and was, assimilating the new job, new home, new environment, and life got really, really messy. So for 2020, my focus, my heartfelt focus is around saucha and cleaning up the mess. And in these first 2 months, I've seen a lot of improvement. I've cleaned up some finances. I've lost some weight as I've cleaned up my diet. I am getting into regular routines around taking care of my home and my office. And I just feel better. and sleep better. And I mean, it's better life, period. So, and I don't have some kind of, it's not like I've got some kind of, secret yoga gene, that makes me able to do this. I've just applied really simple practices that anybody can do, including you, to move the needle and get less mess out, get mess out of their life and make more space for God and being hopefully the person God made you to be. I don't think He wants you to be in a disorderly, disarrayed, like fragmented, stressed out state that many of us are walking around in. So that's what's going on. Now, if that sounds good to you and you're interested, I will put a link below that you can click on so that you are sure to get notified. I'm going to open things up on the Monday before Ash Wednesday. I'm saying when because I don't know when you're seeing this. It may already be open by the time you see this. But click the link below if you want to find out about it, or just keep your eye on the private Facebook group. Please comment on this video. Let me know how this series has helped you, what other questions you still have. And I look forward, hopefully, for you being along for the ride in that Lenten journey. I think it's going to be a fantastic adventure. Well, blessings to you, my friends, and I look forward to seeing you either in a class or another video soon. Bye now.